Hey everyone, it's Alexis with Create Your Future, and I am back today, you guys, with another video, another exciting success story. And today I have some tips on how to get whatever you're manifesting for a little bit faster through working on yourself, your self-concept, and then what that is. Before I get started, thanks for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Please hit the bell icon in the box below, and you get notified every time that we post new videos. All right, you guys, so today I've been getting asked a lot of questions about what is my self-concept? How do I change belief systems? How do I change my assumptions? What am I doing with the mental diet? And then how can I make this happen faster, especially if you're trying to manifest something on a timeline, which isn't necessarily my recommendation, because generally speaking, if you are doing something on a timeline, that means that you're giving time, a lot of thought in your reality, but it seems to be a common theme, especially towards the end of the year, towards Christmas and towards New Year's. Okay, so I wanted to share a really exciting success story of a client of mine who manifested a change in her SP because she had a change that she accessed within herself as she was changing the form of her SP or her SP outside of her, right? Because we're always asking everyone to do two things: to work on self-concept. In my opinion, the best way to go about it is to work on your deeper programming, your deeper self-concept. And I'll go into exactly how to do that today and what you're doing about that. To heal childhood wounds, which usually get activated in love and relationships, which is really important for a lot of people. If that's for you, then this video will also speak to you. So the backstory of this client is that she had known her SP for about, give or take, 7 to 9 years. And he always had the pattern of not calling her. She felt like she would go into chasing him based out of a feeling of what I term as anxiety, worry, and fear. She didn't actually want to be chasing. She didn't like to be the one who was pursuing him, but she would go into that because it would activate her abandonment and her rejection wounds. So in any event, their pattern, just so we're aware of what was happening in the 3D before she changed it, is that he wouldn't be calling her back. She was constantly the one who was chasing him. He would cancel plans with her. He wouldn't make plans with her. He was disinterested. He never actually said, like, I'm not interested, but all of his behavior and all of his actions and all of his body language, things like that, in their 3D reality spoke of that. And when they were around people, he wouldn't introduce her as being anybody special. And they were obviously, in my opinion, they were obviously dating. They obviously had some sort of title, but he just really was uncomfortable, got really insecure about talking about it to other people, didn't want to claim her as his, and was often just really going back and forth. You know, actually, in this client situation, the SP also had some bad habits, which recently I've had a lot of clients asking if I've had any clients that have changed these things about their SPs. So in this case, so I share it, this SP had a habit of drinking too much alcohol, getting a bit aggressive, a little bit violent when out in public, when under the influence of alcohol. And let's see, he had issues with staying at work and keeping his job. So he had a lot of emotional issues. He had said to her that he was suffering from depression, from anxiety. And it's not my position to label somebody as having an addiction, but he did show signs of having that, even though he wasn't like in a recovery program or something like that. And she began to turn this around. All right, so let me just get to the success story. But just so everyone's aware, you know, like I've said in other success stories, the true success stories of my clients that really put time and effort into changing their own programming and to changing their specific person, it usually involves a little bit of time and consistent thinking with consistent new thoughts to get consistent change outside of them. So this is not something that was fully manifested overnight. It wasn't fully manifested in 48 hours. That's generally speaking, in my experience, in doing this myself, and then with all of the clients, the hundreds of clients that I've coached through this process, it rarely happens where it culminates overnight, especially if you've known the person for a long time. You have a history, you have belief systems, you have assumptions, and like I'll go into today, if you have negative assumptions about love and relationships and yourself, that cancels everything out. I'm going to say it one more time. It cancels everything out. So if you're doing affirmations, not to go on a rampage here, but this has been happening a lot in one-on-one sessions. If you're going on rampages about your SP, he loves me, he wants me, I'm his girlfriend, I'm his wife, etc., etc., etc. But you yourself believe, and you have thoughts outside of that, that you're unworthy, undeserving, unlovable, unlikable, not pretty enough, you're overweight, whatever negative thought you have, then your self-concept will cancel out the affirmations about him because you begin to think negative thoughts about yourself. When we do that, then we have negative thoughts about people, places, and things because that's how the neural pathways work. I'm going into that today later in the video, but I had to add that in. All right, you guys. Back to the success story. All right, here we go. It's a short one, so it's really nice. Dear Alexis, thank you so much for your help with coaching, and you have really helped me turn myself and therefore my reality around. As you know, my SP and I were on and off for about 8 to 9 years. He rarely showed up for me. I always felt like I was pursuing him, and I was in constant anxiety about the situation. Well, thanks to coaching with you, I'm seeing super duper change in my 3D reality, and it's all turning around. I can't believe it. I am so happy that I booked sessions with you, and I now know that I'm the creator of my reality. Working on my self-concept, working on my assumptions about myself, beliefs about relationships, assumptions about him, beliefs about him, and also beliefs about what was possible in my reality for me are what helped turn everything around. I can't wait to see you soon and update you with our consistent success as we move towards marriage. Thank you so much. Right. So in any event, you guys, how cool is that? So they went from so many years of having all of these issues to now she's on the pathway of seeing him change. Just to go back to, she didn't include this in the actual success story, but the pragmatics are he's drinking less, he's in therapy, he's working on himself, he's working on himself because she's been intending for him to become a better person, to be a better man for their relationship and for them. And he also told her that he's so happy to be working on all this, and he's so happy, so thankful for her because she got him to change, right? So remember too, if you go into the land in your thought process of, oh, if my SP knew that I was affirming for us, or if my SP knew he was my SP, this is so crazy, this is so delusional. You guys, it isn't unless you believe that it is. Remember that your beliefs, your assumptions about everything that you're doing push out, broadcast into your reality. So just like everything else, I told this client the same thing because she thought, oh my gosh, what if he finds my intention journal? Oh my gosh, what if he knows that I do coaching? Oh my gosh, what if he knows? And I said, well, why don't we just think that he's going to be flattered, right? He didn't actually find any of those things, but she began to really think to herself, like, no, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for us. I'm doing this for our relationship. I'm doing this for him. He's a lucky guy and he's grateful for it. And then guess what? He reflected that back to her inferentially, meaning that he didn't actually say, I'm a lucky guy, I'm doing this for us. But he said, hey, babe, like, I'm really happy to becoming a better person for you and for me and our future family. Okay. So what this client did, I'm not going to go into giving actual intentions today, but what she did, number one, I had her do was to do something really, really important. It was to slow down throughout the day and to start developing awareness. I have notes written down about her automatic thoughts. Now, the reason I had her do this is because the automatic thoughts that you think about your SP, about love, and about yourself come from your assumptions and your beliefs, right? So I searched and I hunted around our house for a little plant, like a little tree, because it's the holidays. I couldn't find one. So I drew one, all right, which is kind of exciting. Never done that before in a video. But here we have a tree, you guys, okay? So think that the roots of the tree, are your beliefs and your assumptions. Now, we know that the roots of any tree hold the tree up and they allow it to flourish, right? So in this instance, think that your automatic thoughts come from your deep-seated assumptions and belief systems. If you happen to be noticing that I have yet again taken off my nails because you've seen my other videos, you are right, because my nails really need a break. And I actually got kind of sick of the look of acrylic nails, funnily enough. Didn't think that I'd say that. Okay, we'll see if it changes. You never know. So back to this, you guys. So what she identified is when she began to have awareness, she slowed down, right? She really decided that she could no longer be living in anxiety, worry, fear, watching a bunch of videos, doing a bunch of techniques, doing a bunch of things, doing all these affirmations, trying to go outside of herself to get answers. All she did was this: she slowed down. She began to get keen awareness about what are my automatic thoughts. Now, a lot of her automatic thoughts, funnily enough, were not necessarily even about her SP. They were much more about herself, relationships, love, commitment, and connection that really came from her childhood. You don't necessarily need to go into your childhood wounds to do this, but if you have thoughts such as relationships are difficult, commitment is difficult, commitment is really hard, it's no fun, nobody wants to do it, etc., then that's what you're going to create, right? And that generally comes, or it does come, because it's an automatic thought, from a belief or an assumption that relationships are difficult, that nobody likes to be in a relationship with you, that men and women don't want to be in relationships anymore. Whatever the assumption or the belief is for you, please understand that the automatic thoughts that you have about everything in your life, everything, come from your beliefs and your assumptions, okay? So number one, just to go back to it, she developed awareness about those automatic thoughts, okay? So we talk about it in session, we would create a plan, right, and kind of tweak her affirmations as she went along, but I really use that as data to understand where the mind of my client is at, because it's not like every affirmation works for everybody, because that's not what you're doing here. Remember that you're always changing your unconscious programming, your unconscious assumptions. We know what the unconscious programming is, even though it's unconscious, based upon your conscious thinking, okay? So number two is all that she did was we did affirmations that countered those assumptions that were specific to her, specific to him, and to the situation. We did do things that were focusing on him getting help from a professional, him drinking less, losing interest in alcohol, losing interest in partying, things like that. And then it began to show up that way too. Okay. So you guys, please start doing that. If you're having, if you want things to move quicker, the quickest way that you can do this is to slow down and do deep work on yourself, right? Because remember that you're working with your mind here. Your mind gravitates towards what is familiar until you begin to change it. It gravitates towards what feels unfamiliar. No, wait. It gravitates towards what feels familiar and away from what feels unfamiliar, because the unfamiliar is the new zone. It's the new area. It's the new thought. That's what resistance is. It's your mind saying, no, we're going to go back to our negative thinking. We don't want to think positively, right? Because your mind is just trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you going. It's trying to keep you alive. It's keeping all of your systems, all your body's processes alive too, right? So anyways, that's how you do this. We gently learn to teach the mind through focusing on what you want and doing intentions and keeping a strict, healthy mental diet based upon putting yourself first, focusing on yourself, and clearing up and changing that programming at the unconscious level. So just like this client, you guys, hey, if there's lots of issues going on with your SP, but you've decided that they're the only person for you, you can change things about them based upon changing yourself and the assumptions and the beliefs you have about them within you. Just a friendly reminder, we're not changing or manipulating anybody outside of you. It's all from within, which is, I think, it's a much easier process to do. All right, you guys, so that's my video for today. Just a last reminder that we are still having our contest. So every time that you comment on one of our videos about how law of attraction or law of assumption has helped you change your life, you get put into a pool of people to potentially win 3 free coaching sessions. I also still have 3 hypnosis audios available on our website. I'll be coming out with more hypnosis audios soon. No need to email in and ask when those are going to be announced, because nobody knows besides me, okay? But they've been so well received, and clients are getting so many success stories just by adding in hypnosis in the audios or one-on-one hypnosis that I now offer on the website. And it's really helping bolster the mental diet, because it helps change that subconscious programming, and it gives you an edge, because sometimes the mental diet can be a lot to stay on when you're in anxiety, worry, and fear. And please look online also for my courses. And I have my next workshop coming up on December 15th, 6:15 Pacific Standard Time, on how to be a goddess and how to get pursued. All right, you guys, so lots of juicy nuggets in here. Please rewind, rewatch this, and learn a lot from this success story from her and how to implement this in your own life. Go out, make today awesome. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.